Happy holidays, y'all. I'm Dallas, and this is the first year I didn't wait till the week of Christmas to finish Christmas shopping.
I'm Gabby, and dude, I've been Christmas shopping since like October.
That tracks.
I'm Colin, and I have bought a gift for a person.
Yeah.
I should probably do more of that.
And I'm Demi, and I have bought gifts for everybody on this podcast so far.
Aww.
Hey.
I brag about it.
I mean, I have two.
Okay, all right.
Welcome to Throwback Thursday, guys.
Yes, today we're talking about the Muppet Christmas Carol because Demi really wanted to, and it turns 28 tomorrow on the 11th.
Yay! And I'm glad that you made us watch this.
Oh, that's good to know because you were getting real you were like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
That's true.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we talk about some puppets, please like and subscribe because I am obligated to ask you to do that.
Contractually. Not that we have contracts, but you know.
Yeah.
We wish.
We have an unwritten, unspoken contract.
With one another.
It has to do with friendship reasons. Anyway, onward.
Yes. This movie, this is the first time I've seen it. Like, I saw it a couple hours ago for the first time.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Colin, do me.
I know I've seen it before, probably multiple times. Like, we had the VHS. We probably still have the VHS. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
I don't know when the first time I ever saw this movie was, but I do remember being a kid, probably the first time I ever saw it. I used to watch a lot of Muppet movies when I was a kid. So yeah, that was probably when I saw it for the first time.
Cool.
That makes sense. It is as old as we are, and it's for kids. The Muppet Christmas Carol, directed by Brian Henson, son of Jim Henson. Brian directed Muppet Treasure Island and The Happy Time Murders, which I did not realize
Oh my god, Happy Time Murders is amazing.
that he made The Happy Time Murders. I wonder, like, what his dad would have thought. Like, yeah, what are you doing with my Muppets? Anyway, it was
Happy
written.
Time Murders was amazing.
I will take your word for it. I haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's so funny and so dumb, but in the best way.
It looks very dumb. And it looked very. Never mind. Written by Jerry Jewell, who has worked on a bunch of Muppet stuff, and it's pretty much all I could find on him. It stars Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, I know you're gonna do that. Stephen McIntosh, Dave Gels or Goltz. It's like a German name that I don't know how to pronounce. I've seen both pronunciations on the internet. Steve Whitmire, Jerry Nelson, and Frank Oz, who I didn't realize until today plays Miss Piggy.
He totally
Which
does.
is insane to me because the vocal range, man, impressive. Anyway, summary time. The Muppet characters tell their version of the classic tale of an old and bitter miser's redemption on Christmas Eve.
Yay.
Story time.
Story time. Oh my god. Okay, so I saw it and I was like, I wonder how, because you know you guys sent me that post on the costumes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll talk about it when we get to the visuals. I was like, I wonder how close to the original, minus the songs, this is. And I started reading the book because it's very short. It's under 150 pages. It's like 130 something.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
crazy.
almost line for line.
Nice.
like
I was
everything-
actually very curious about that. I was wondering how faithful of an adaptation this was to the actual novel.
So, you know, when Gonzo starts like talking and he's like, you know, the Marleys were dead. That's the first line of the book. It's Marley was dead as a doornail. Like, actually,
What a way to
let
start
me
your
find
story.
The real, let me find the real first line. But like, it was like, wow, this is this is very close. Here it is. Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, and then it goes on. So yeah, it starts exactly the way that the book starts. At least when Gonzo starts narrating. And
It's kind of freaking hilarious.
yeah, and the whole exchange between Scrooge and his nephew, that's basically line for line. Like almost everything that Michael Caine says is what Scrooge actually says in the book.
Well, shout out to accuracy.
That's
That was fun.
hysterical. What did you guys think? I mean, it's weird to say. I always feel weird when we do like Throwback Thursdays like this, where like the movie is based on like a book. Because then I'm like, yeah, what did you think of this story that's been around for a while?
I mean, it's classic Christmas story. But like,
Yeah.
what do we just generally think of the story? I feel like
Yeah, I guess like, what do you think of the story? How do you think it was done in this particular version? Because I've watched I like this story, I guess, because I've seen so many iterations of it, from a Diva's Christmas Carol to this version of the Christmas Carol to Disney has one with Goofy and Donald and Mickey.
Yeah,
Like, I've
and
seen a
Scrooge
lot of them.
McDuck. Yeah, I really like this story. What amazes me is like, well, because it's so ubiquitous and it's been around for more than 100 years. Like it feels like just a story we tell, like Cinderella or something. But I'm like, this dude came up with this story, but it like works. I don't know. It's just it's like a fairy tale, but like with this grumpy old man. I don't know. It's just thinking about how somebody like did come up with this, and we know the dude that did it, because like other stories that are as ubiquitous as this are like they're fairy tales. You know, we don't know where it came from generally. You know, it's just been a story for a long time, but this one we know who wrote it, we know who came up with it, and it's just like, and still it's like it just has the same kind of feeling as a fairy tale that's been around for like forever. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
I mean, yeah, it's an old ass story, but it's not like that level of old ass story where you're like, oh yeah, I don't know where this came from, but we all know it now.
Yeah,
Just
or
like, I know
like
where it
I'm
came
just
from.
like, how did he come up with this?
I mean, how does anyone come up with any story?
That's true, but like this one's just so, I don't know.
It's a story that continuously gets remade over and over again, but like in different fashions, and it keeps working in all these different fashions, no matter how many times you remake them.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Star is Born. Go with
kind
the
of
ghost.
Yes,
a little bit, yeah.
absolutely.
But okay, what I think is hilarious though is that like of all of the Christmas carols, really the Muppets one is the one that's the closest.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
can't.
It's really interesting. I do love, though. I've always been a fan of. I'm gonna call it the Muppet covers, which is basically whenever the Muppets make a movie that's just another iteration of something else that's already been made. Like, I used to love the Muppets Wizard of Oz. I grew up watching a VHS called I think it's called the Muppet Classics or something like that, where they would just do like classic stories like King Midas and stuff like that. That was where I learned the story of King Midas, was watching Gonzo tell that story.
Oh, okay.
So I always really love Muppet movies like these. They're always really funny, and they're always very self-aware of the fact that they are making a remake of something that is classic and timeless already, and just kind of putting their own spin on it.
Yeah. One thing though is I didn't realize this was a musical. I always, for some reason, forget that Muppet music movies are musicals, and it low key brings me down a little bit.
Why
I'm
does
like,
it bring you
okay,
down a little bit?
great. Huh?
Why does it bring you down? You don't like
I
musicals?
don't like their songs. I don't think I've heard a Muppet song where I'm like, this can keep going and I'll like it. I'm just like, okay, I want this to be over. But like the Muppets
Wow.
comedy itself, the comedy, I'm like here for it. Like
You
we'll
should
just-
watch Muppets Wizard of Oz. I just want to see what you would think of the music in that one, because I think the music in Muppet Wizard of Oz slaps, but that's possibly because Ashanti is the one playing Dorothy.
Oh my god, I'll watch it for Ashanti.
Ashanti? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, Ashanti is Dorothy, Queen Latifah is her aunt, and David Allen Greer is her uncle.
You mean J-Lo? I'm just kidding. I made the joke too late.
Is this The Wiz?
No, it's what I love about it is that it's a mixture of The Wizard of Oz and The Wiz. So there are aspects of it that are straight up The Wizard of Oz, and there are other aspects that are The Wiz. So like, the poppy field scene in the original Wizard of Oz is an actual poppy field. In The Wiz, it's a nightclub. And I think in the Muppets Wizard of Oz, it's a nightclub.
That's
Nice.
interesting. What a choice. What a choice.
It's dope. I really like that movie. I was recommending it to somebody like last week or like a couple weeks ago.
All right. I'll keep that in mind. So yeah, the story's cool. I don't think Colin said anything about it. Colin, thoughts on the story?
I mean, it's cool. Like, I don't really care that much about the Christmas Carol just because, like, I know the story is whatever. But, like, this version, I think the Muppets make it more interesting. Like, if this were not the Muppets, I don't think I would give a shit. But Gonzo and Rizzo really help make this much more interesting and much funnier.
They definitely did.
Yes. Yes. We can call them characters. Speaking of characters, yeah, Gonzo and Rizzo are probably like the thing I enjoy most about this movie is their little narration, like with Rizzo questioning Gonzo's omniscience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you know what Scrooge is doing? We're out here. And he was like, narrators are omniscient. Don't you know that?
And then he's right. Like he's like,
Yeah.
great.
And he's like, this is should we be worried about the kids in the audience? And he's like, nah, that's all right. This is culture. It's like, all right, Gonzo.
I
I respect
love
it.
that.
But yeah, they're great.
I feel like a lot of what's usually missing from I feel the same way about Jane Austen too, is like Charles Dickens has a very distinctive voice and a very distinctive way of writing, and his stories are great, but what elevates them is the way that he says things, and there's a little bit of charm and character to his writing style. It's not just him telling a story, it's him telling you like there's a part where he's like, so and so was dead as a doornail, and then he goes on this little tangent where he's like, I don't know what dead as a doornail means. I feel like a coffin nail is more adequate for in terms of deadness. Like he goes into like a little tangent like that in his writing, so it's just like you miss that when you just do a regular interpretation. But because they threw in Gonzo as Charles Dickens, you got a little bit of his voice in there, especially since Gonzo was saying like direct lines from the text. So I liked
That's
that.
cool. That's interesting. I've never known that.
It's so interesting to me that Colin is our English major and Gabby is the one who's super into like the old English literature.
Well,
Because
yeah.
as far as I know,
because
Colin wants nothing to do with any of that.
early on in college, I mean, I kind of formed this opinion in high school, but especially in college, it was like, wow, the classics suck, and I don't like them, and I've never liked them, and you're forcing me to read them when I don't want to. So it's like, nah, I'm gonna stick to modern stuff that is way more interesting.
Yeah,
I think
just
that's the
always interesting
difference
to
is
me.
when you're forced to read it. It's like I don't
I
want.
mean, were you
any part
not?
of this.
Like, were you
In
not
high
forced to read
school,
classics in high school?
Kind of. Like we did like Shakespeare, but we didn't do like 19th century stuff. We did like Shakespeare, and then we would jump to like the 50s.
Oh,
see, that's
Or like
much
better.
or Russian literature, and Russian literature like compared to Western stuff is like way more like detailed, and it has way more depth to it. So like I'm gonna take more out of reading the messed up Russian stuff than I would reading Jane Austen when I was like 15. Although I did choose to read Jane Austen when I was 15 because I liked Pride and Prejudice. But like it was a choice.
It's always a choice. It's always better when it's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree though. Gonzo and Rizzo are definitely like probably the best part of this movie. But I also appreciate the fact that like this movie is obviously because of the Muppets, it's kind of a comedy. I appreciate the fact that Gonzo and Rizzo are taken out of the story when the story is getting real dark.
Oh yeah, they're like, it's time to go.
Yeah, they're
"We'll
like,
be
oh,
back
you guys are on
later."
your own. We'll be back at the finale.
Yeah, because I felt like that wouldn't have worked. I feel like the storytelling up until that point would not have worked in that particular act of the story.
Yes. Also, I think it's funny that they use the excuse that they were scared to take them out. But strategically and story speaking wise, it did add more like it took you or like you were able to go deeper into like the scary bit because there wasn't these like funny creatures in the background.
Yeah, it was able to be serious without us being taken out of this serious moment because Gonzo and Rizzo are being funny.
Yes.
And then we have Michael Caine as as Ebenezer Scrooge, which is fantastic. He's great.
Yeah. Okay, so I know that you guys told me that Michael Caine was in this, but I completely forgot until I saw him in it, and then I was like,
His entrance is amazing, man.
yes.
That was a good scene. That was
Yeah.
a good scene. I like that song too. So I was like, I disagree with Gabby on the Muppet songs. For like a couple of them, there's a lot of songs in this, and most of them I was like, all right.
See,
can
the
move
only
on.
problem I had with that scene, well, it's a great scene, is that after it was over, the person I was watching with was like, oh, so we basically only got crotch shots of Scrooge. And that was just a thought I didn't need to have.
Oh my
And then it was in my head.
God.
Colin.
What's up, dude?
Did this movie put the dick in Charles Dickens?
Stop it.
No,
Stop it
there
now.
was no dick in this movie. And there shouldn't have been because it's not that kind of movie.
You're the one bringing up crotch shots, man. I was just.
But yeah, the shot where he first
Piggybacking on that.
steps in is like amazing. I love that shot.
Yeah. Also, I couldn't get over his eyebrows. They were very dark. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Michael Caine with eyebrows that look like that.
Oh my goodness. And then you have Kermit and Miss Piggy as the Cratchits and their kid, and they've got their kids, which I found
Yeah.
fascinating that the boys are
Okay.
frogs and the girls
Oh,
are pigs.
I
Right?
hate that because that's every animated movie like does that, and it's like that's not how genetics works. But also, like, I'm more concerned with the fact that Kermit and Miss Piggy fuck. I mean, yeah, they're together, and it
I'm
never. I
sorry,
didn't
like,
think
do
about
you
that.
not think about that, like, ever? Like, every time I
No.
see them as a couple, I'm like, wow,
Because
that's
I
a
don't
choice
think about
they
the Muppets
made.
ever, because I never run into the Muppets, and then we watched this, and I was like, they had children.
They did. They
They
had
had
Like they
four.
got down, and I just
like Kermit. And you know what's funny? So like in the new Muppets TV show that they tried to launch, like Kermit and like Miss Piggy had gotten a divorce, and then Kermit started dating someone new, and it was a pig. So it was like Kermit has a type.
Oh, Kermit just got a type. I see.
Kermit just really likes pigs.
There was one of the things that I loved about like their marriage, which is I love the there's a part at the end where Scrooge is playing off that he's still being a douchebag, and Miss Piggy pulls Kermit out of the way to fight him. I was just like, oh,
she's like, you came to the wrong house today, sir.
That's one of my
not
favorite
on
lines.
Christmas.
Yeah, she's like, not on Christmas in my doorstep to
He
my
said-
husband.
I'm about to raise your salary, and she says, I'm about to raise you off the pavement. And I was like, yo, she's ready to scrap.
Miss Piggy's always ready to scrap, though. She's
She
always
is.
ready to throw hands.
She's very aggressive.
And my favorite character is, I think my favorite character whenever I watch an iteration of this movie, or most of the time, it's Tiny Tim.
Oh,
It's just,
Tiny
it's
Tim.
just a child.
He's your favorite one in this one?
Just like a cute.
He's one of my
sickly
favorites. I think he's the cutest character. I'll say this: he's the cutest character in this film.
Okay,
That's
no, he didn't do a whole lot.
He doesn't, except be a nice, good, wholesome child.
Yeah, be a nice little kid. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Scrooge has a wonderful little redemption arc, which he has to because that's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah. My favorite character is always the Ghost of Christmas Present.
The big Hagrid dude.
Yeah, basically because it's a big Hagrid dude.
He was real
so
nice.
jolly.
Yeah, you guys were saying that the Ghost of Christmas Past is creepy looking. I
Oh,
just have, I guess I've watched way too many movies with puppets in it.
No, it was
it's
terrifying.
Not the puppet, it's the face, because I think the face is
Yeah.
like CG, and it's just
No, it's not. You know what it is? They shot it underwater
oh
because of the, like, you can tell from the way that the fabric floats around.
oh
It's underwater,
That's why it looks so weird.
and it's so creepy. I don't like it.
I don't know.
I definitely think
face
it's
I feel like
weird.
would be creepy with or without water. It's a creepy
Yeah,
looking face.
that's fair.
Yeah, that too.
It's
like,
just
they should have just done a little kid, and instead they did whatever the hell that was.
like that puppet is like the humans in Toy Story level creepy. It's just not fun to look at.
Yeah.
And it's
I
funny
watched way
because
too many puppets.
Colin was talking about it before I had watched the movie, and I was like, Colin's scared of everything.
I
But
was
then I
like,
watched the
is
movie, it's like,
Colin being
oh,
dramatic? And then I
oh.
was like, no. He's right. He's right.
Creepy as
I
hell.
hope it ends soon.
Hell
Get
yeah.
that off my screen.
Which is
Yeah.
one of the interesting things about this movie for me is, as I may have stated on camera, on mic, on whatever, I don't know, I don't like puppets. I do not fuck with puppets. I will not like I didn't like Labyrinth. I don't know if Demi made me watch The Dark Crystal. She probably did, and I didn't like it.
I did not make you watch The Dark Crystal.
I could have sworn you did, but I guess you didn't. But for some reason, this doesn't bother me. I think maybe because I'm used to it. I don't know.
It's that same thing with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because as we were transitioning into visuals and sound, I was going to be like, Colin, I know you don't really rock with puppets, but you didn't seem too bothered by this outside of the overtly creepy one that
Yeah.
somehow isn't supposed to be creepy. Like, you're going to tell me Ghost of Christmas Future is supposed to be scary. Yeah, that's all well and good, but
Not a scary
nothing
set.
about the little creepy redhead girl.
Exactly. She was so scary.
Ugh.
I'm glad I watched it in the daytime because I think it would have given me nightmares.
That bad?
Yeah, I'm like, but I'm a little weenie when it comes to scary movies. So
It's not a scary
mean,
It's not
so
movie.
a scary
am I.
movie. This movie's ready to be.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little weenie when it comes to things that like scare me.
So are you referring
Alright.
to the redhead girl or the Ghost of Christmas Future when you say,
The redheaded girl.
oh, yeah, that's fair. She's
Christmas Future is a dope.
Yeah,
poster, though.
dude,
Whatever.
that
It's
was
just a
amazing.
Dementor. Like, that's whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a guy in a cloak.
I think I think when they were trying to come up with how to do Dementors, they like, I don't know if they referenced or like hit up the Jim Henson Company or if they like tried some of their methods. Cause I know like at one point they were going to try to do the underwater thing to try and get the effects.
Yo, that would have been even scarier, bro.
No, they tried it and it was like, nah, this isn't as scary as we want. So that's why they went with CGI.
I take it we're on visuals and sound now.
See.
Pretty much,
Since
yeah.
we're now just talking about how the puppets looked,
These
which
creepy puppets, and then Happy Hagrid puppet.
Oh, that one was amazing. Can we talk about that one?
Sure. go for it.
Oh, actually, before that, so Colin sent us this
Tumblr link.
Tumblr link. Was that you, Demir, or Colin?
It was
That
me.
was Colin.
It
I
was
just
Colin.
resent it to you.
Okay, so about how accurate these costumes are, and as somebody that's obsessed with period dramas and watches YouTube channels with like costume historians going over like different movies and like basically I've seen enough like information about the 19th century and various 19th century things to know that yes, the costumes in this are like starkingly like accurate, and the easiest way to tell is just the women's hair. Very few like period pieces will do 19th century's women's hair correctly because the hairstyles were kind of weird compared to what we do now, and contemporary art like audiences don't tend to like them, but like you can tell like they were trying really hard when they do the like 19th century hair, which was like low key like ugly. Ugly to us, right? It was like beautiful and like stylish to them, 200 years ago. But like just off of the hair, the women's hair, I was like, yo, this is accurate. If they were willing to do the hair, I don't know like how good these dresses are like in comparison. But yeah, real accurate. I think the only other place I've seen that accurate is like 1995's Pride and Prejudice that the BBC did. But yeah, A+ costume work. Even on the Muppets themselves, which wild. They also didn't need to go this hard. Like they didn't. It's a Muppet movie. Like they could have just slapped on whatever costumes on the Muppets and the people, and no one would have noticed. But they there's production value here. There's like costuming, like accurate. It's wild.
Speaking of people that didn't need to go that hard, one thing I forgot to bring up during the story point is when Scrooge is going to like the different places and people are talking about him, they are going in on that man. It is so disrespectful. Like his nephew, who is just like, oh, hey, Uncle Scrooge, hey, Uncle Ebenezer, whatever I call you. It's Christmas, be happy, blah, blah, blah. And then he leaves, goes to the house, goes to the party that he invited him to. And it's like, yo, what kind of creature is worse than a leech and a cockroach? Like your uncle. That's exactly right.
And no, but his wife was like, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like, damn. But also, like, so in the book, it's like, this is his only living relative. So like, so this dude, this ungrateful ass mean nephew is gonna inherit like everything Scrooge has. And he's talking all this smack.
I mean, in this movie, it just felt like, yeah, your uncle's a douchebag. It's that family member who, like, you love your family and you love that family member, but sometimes you just got to be like, listen, bro, like, this family member be getting on my nerves. They are such a douchebag. Like, I know this person. I know who they are deep down, but, like, I love them. But sometimes I got to roast them.
It was just a wild, like, the extent to which they were roasting this man.
Exactly.
Like,
oh, yeah, he went hard in the paint.
And that's, like, fine, like, but, like, once he dies, like, I think like the day he died, people in the streets just like
the spider, yes.
And like the dudes outside were like, "Hey, yo, he gonna have a cheap funeral. Don't matter, ain't nobody gonna be there. Ha ha, this nigga dead." It's like, yo, what is wrong with you people?
They went in. I mean, that's how much of a douchebag he was, man. Just
also, like, speaking of people being terrible, there's that whole bit with the terrifying spider dude, where it's like, as soon as he died, they went into his house and took all of his shit to sell.
They ran up in his house. They took the blanket off his bed.
It was still warm. Like, they just...
Yeah, let this be a lesson to everyone. Don't be a dick.
Yes, because...
Okay, but also don't go into a dead person's house to steal their stuff and sell it. Like, okay, don't be a dick, but also that's not cool either.
I'm just thinking, like, imagine a ghost comes to you and is like, I'm going to show you your future. And then they show you, dudes are like crip walking on your grave and roasting you.
Crip walking.
That's basically what this felt like.
Listen, that's exactly why this man had a change of heart.
Definitely.
He had to. He was like, oh, wow, people are going to celebrate when I die.
Which also, like, I don't feel bad for him because he's an asshole, but I felt a little bit bad for him when, like, he went through the present. He was like, cool, I'm good. I'm gonna change, and then they still did the future. It's like, no, you really need to know. It's like, okay, I feel like you're driving the point home a little hard.
That was pretty wild.
You can't stop the program. We started the program. We got to finish the show.
We have to finish it.
I don't know, bro. Like, yeah, once I say, okay, I get it, I'm gonna change. They're like, nah, let me show you how you're gonna die alone. Like,
Well,
all right.
hold on. So going back to visuals, though, we were talking about those scenes where they're like roasting him a lot. One of the things that I did actually really like about this movie was the lighting, especially because like the eye light that Michael Caine has going quite a bit of the time, mostly when he's emotional. I should have gone back to watch the beginning of the movie to see if they had no highlight on him and to see if they changed it throughout the movie. But just like it's such a pretty light in his eye and it just makes him shine more. And like, so when he's getting like emotional and you can just see them like glistening and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. Even though you've been a douche this whole movie.
But also
But
stuff
yeah,
that they would do back when, it was film. And so all they had was like a light to
I mean,
like
but
really.
highlights are also just super important when you're making movies. It's so nice, especially when you do it well.
Yeah. And the Muppets apparently did.
Yeah. Also, like visuals and sound like puppets, bro. Their puppets are always. It's the Jim Henson Company, man. They
Yeah.
always make really awesome puppets,
Yeah.
no matter their size.
See,
Christmas present.
the problem I have with the puppets, it's not a problem with the puppets. This is just a problem with the world. Is that like the Muppets eat other Muppets that are food. Some Muppets are sentient, some aren't. I was really just confused. Like
So
Rizzo
they
makes
eat
that
other
joke
Muppets
about
that
like,
are food.
yeah, well, Rizzo makes a joke about like my mom always said, don't eat singing food.
Oh,
But like some people do. So your food be screaming while you're eating it?
yeah.
Don't like that.
I don't know.
Jim Henson, come back from the grave and explain.
I think he has a large enough family that they could explain it to
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, Bill.
Fair.
Bill is the one who made this movie, right? Did I make that name up? What-
Brian.
Brian. My bad, Brian.
B name.
Yeah, some would be. But yeah, last thing I want to say about the visuals and sound is that I really like the intro song for Scrooge and the Marley and Marley song where they're just like describing how terrible they are.
Marley and Marley was great.
That was
That
dope.
song. I'll give you that. I'll give them that song.
Yes. But those are the two songs I liked. Other than that, I was like, these are fine. They're Christmas songs. Christmas music is mostly whack. I've discussed that off mic.
What?
He brought it up on Facebook.
Oh my God.
For a movie that is, it's puppets. It's a lot of puppets. It's so well shot, but also that's what I come to expect out of a Jim Henson film. So, or like something that comes from the Jim Henson Company in general.
I would take your word on that. I don't watch a lot of Muppet stuff.
I watch. It's not just Muppet stuff. It's just literally almost anything with puppets in it is probably a Jim Henson
Oh,
Company.
yeah, he
film.
did like Labyrinth and the other stuff too.
Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, like all sorts of stuff.
He's-
Most likely, it's the Jim Henson Company.
He's about his puppets.
I mean, that's what he got famous for, and
I respect
Sesame
that.
Like-
Street? Is Sesame Street Jim Henson?
that's a good question. I always
Think so?
I don't think it is, but people always like assume
Mix
it
them
is
up.
because, puppets.
Yeah, people think the Muppets just Muppets refers to anything that looks like that. And I'm like, well,
It is Jim Henson. He worked on the show and helped develop puppets for the show.
yeah, that's crazy. He's every puppet.
He started the Muppets first, and then he came up with Sesame Street. Or like he joined the program Sesame Street in 1969, and Muppets was founded in 1958.
Well, all right. It's all Jim.
yeah. I mean, the guy is
Aw,
like
Jim.
he's the like frontier man, I guess you could say, of like puppeteering.
Which yeah. And also like I love how many different kinds of puppets there are in Jim Henson. It's like you have some that are just like his quote unquote normal where it's like and then you have some where it's like people like the people's arms.
Oh yeah, like the different types of puppetry that you can pull off in the Jim Henson Company. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then like the Ghost of Christmas Present, which was probably just a dude in a suit. Like just a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So, favorite aspect of the movie? Do any of you guys have one?
Yes. What's the Gonzo and Rizzo?
Oh, of
Hey,
course, yeah,
same.
that's a good choice.
I feel like you guys can guess what my favorite aspect was.
The costuming.
The old
Other
stuff.
than that, yes, but also the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Oh,
Oh yes, that makes sense.
awesome! I'm glad to hear that you guys like were feeling the characters. That those were your favorite aspects. It's wasn't what I was anticipating. My favorite aspect is definitely the puppetry because I'm a huge fan of puppetry. The last couple of years, I've really grown to appreciate it a lot more. It's literally on my bucket list to one day. Like it's been on my bucket list since high school that I want to make a film with like Jim Henson puppets. I think that would be so much fun and super cool.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, but it would be super difficult. I want to make something in vein of like Labyrinth.
The thing is, to me, I want this for you.
Colin, you don't have to watch it.
Cool, thanks.
Colin does have to watch
He's
it. He needs to be at the
excused.
premiere.
I what was it?
He can go to
again?
the premiere and then leave.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Just the red carpet.
Yeah.
Put Colin in the movie.
Oh God,
No.
no.
But yeah, no, like I was saying, the last couple of years, I've started to appreciate puppetry even more because, especially with season 2 of The Mandalorian right now, I feel like the puppetry that they're doing with Baby Yoda is like insane.
Groundbreaking.
Like,
Did they consult Jim Henson Company at all for that?
I don't know, but the amount of emotion that Baby Yoda has been giving off this season is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then also last year, the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which was my favorite thing that I watched all year last year. The amount of work, because it's all puppetry. It's very small amounts of CGI in that show. And it's incredible what they were able to do with that show. And like you said, there were so many different types of puppets in that particular show because you're making so many different creatures of different sizes and different shapes and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely the puppetry. I grew up watching the Muppets, like I said earlier. I used to go to Sesame Street live shows with my mom as a kid.
Wow.
So I don't know, I guess I've always just liked puppetry. I grew up watching Labyrinth with my cousin, which I have been a fan of forever. Watching this movie again, I was like, I really want to watch Labyrinth and I really want to watch The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance right now. I was like, I really just want to watch a bunch of puppet stuff now. Great. This is where we're at.
Hey, I have a question to me. A couple of years ago, there was a Jim Henson exhibit at the like that was here in Pasadena, or not here, Pasadena, in LA touring. Did you go to it?
I did not. That sounds wild.
It was amazing.
I feel like I had a moment where I just kind of stopped. I forgot how much I really like puppetry in movies and
Okay,
stuff.
I will send you photos because they also had the dress from Labyrinth and David Bowie's outfit from Labyrinth.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh my goodness, it's amazing.
Also, did I ever tell you that I thought that that Labyrinth was like a fever dream that I had as a child, and
Jesus
took a long
Christ.
time for me to realize it was an actual movie because I saw it when I was so little that I was like, did I make this up? And then I finally saw it again and I was like, oh, thank God it's real.
Oh my gosh. I was young when I saw it the first time, but I wasn't that young. I was like young enough that I was cognizant. But yeah, I love that movie. Colin, I think, bought me the DVD and a coffee table book from that film. I love that movie so much. I saw it in theaters a few years ago. I was so happy to see it in theaters with a couple of friends of mine.
Ooh, that sounds great.
It was
I'd love to see it.
amazing.
I think so because my cousin would do this thing where she would babysit us, and she sat us from the time I was like 2 or 3 years old. She would take us to Blockbuster and let us choose a movie and like a treat, and then we'd go to her house and would watch movies. And so it was definitely one of those things. But I was just so little that I didn't realize that it was like I just thought it was just so far back in my memory that I thought it was like a fever dream.
Oh my Lord.
Like,
But yeah, I know we're supposed to be talking about the Muppets. But
sorry.
just for the record, for everybody out there, I'm just gonna recommend Jim Henson films in general and TV shows because if you like puppets, they're fantastic. They're great. I do want to ask you guys one final question, but I feel like none of you guys are gonna have an answer. Who is your favorite Muppet?
Oh, there's no question on that. Beaker.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Beaker. Me. Is that him? Right?
Yeah, that's Beaker.
Yay. Oh God, this is so hard for me.
Mine is Kermit. It's not hard for me.
Oh God.
Kermit, nice.
So hard. For a long time it was Oscar the Grouch. But if we're talking like the Muppets.
Wait, are we counting Sesame Street?
I mean, I guess you could. I wasn't counting them.
That's a whole different
I
thing.
had favorites through my whole life. Like
So did I. Well, what was your cycle then? What was your phase?
It was like when I was really little, it was Miss Piggy, and then when I was like a little older, like maybe elementary school, it was Gonzo, and then it was Fozzie Bear. And now I'm like, it's hard to pick. I like them all. And then Animal too. Animal's the drummer, right, in the band?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Animal. I loved Animal around the same time as I liked who did I say? God. Oh, I just like that. Around the time I liked Gonzo, I also liked Animal a lot too. So it's really hard. Right now I'm gonna say Gonzo though.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did something similar. When I was a kid, my favorites were Gonzo and Rizzo. probably because of the movie where they meet Gonzo's family. I love that movie. It's fantastic.
Me too.
And then I got to an age where Animal became my favorite because Animal was just wild and crazy, and I loved Animal for that. And then when I got to high school, The Muppets Wizard of Oz introduced me to Pepe, and Pepe is amazing. And Pepe has the best jokes. I love him.
Who is
He's
that?
the
Which one is
best.
that?
Pepe is the shrimp.
Oh,
I'm sorry. He's not a
yes.
shrimp. I'm sorry. He's a prawn.
Oh my God,
He's a
Pepe's
prawn.
ridiculous. Pepe the King Prawn. Yes, he's ridiculous.
Yeah,
He's
I
great.
love Pepe. I'm sorry that I got his I can't get his animal wrong. That would be wrong of me. He corrects people all the time. He is a prawn and he's freaking hilarious. I love him. It's
I honestly
great.
always thought that prawns and shrimp were the same thing, so I learned something today.
All right, guys. But audience, let us know what you think of the film and who is your favorite Muppet. I'm curious. I really want to know.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, leave a frog emoji in the
Aw.
comments.
We're just gonna privilege Kermit like that?
Kermit is the best one. Didn't you hear my
See.
answer?
I mean, okay.
I feel like there's definitely frog, or you could leave a pig emoji if you want.
I never
There's
liked
no
Miss Piggy as
Gonzo
a kid.
emoji, huh?
I never liked Miss Piggy as a kid because she was just way too aggressive and like mean. Like she was abusive.
You know what it was is I think I saw the Muppets movie where they got married really young, and I was like, oh my God, she's a ride or die for her, dude. I love them together.
I just remember her smacking people up, and I was like, "Yo, this is not okay behavior."
I love Muppets from Space. That was the one where his family, where Gonzo's family
Yes.
came in. But also Muppet Treasure Island is fantastic.
Oh, I haven't seen that one in years. But
That
maybe-
one's also on Disney Plus.
Ugh, I might
Yeah,
start
I-
watching Muppets movies. Damn it! But I hate
You
the singing.
should. It's so much fun.
I know,
It'll make
but
you
I-
feel good. It's
No,
just
but I hate the
good time
singing.
movies. I also used to watch Muppet Babies a lot as a kid. I used to love that show. I used to have it on VHS. That one's
didn't-
just an animated show though. There are no puppets.
Yeah, I remember that show.
I never knew you were so big into the Muppets.
I didn't realize that I was that big into the Muppets until last night when I was thinking about my history with the Muppets, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I've just been really into the Muppets my entire life."
That's wild. What a thing to find out about yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense. That explains why, like, Colin absolutely hates puppets, but I'm like, I love puppetry, and it's probably because I used to love the Muppets, and I used to watch, like, I used to go to Sesame Street Live all the time, like I said, and so I've just, I don't know, it doesn't creep me out anymore. Like, I've seen creepy Muppets, like in Labyrinth. There are plenty of those.
But yeah, whenever you do your version of a puppet movie, you should make Colin be your Jennifer Connelly.
See, it's funny because Demi sent me a text last night that she asked me if I wanted to shoot stuff, and I was like, "Is she trying to film a movie? Like what? Why would you ask me? That doesn't make sense. I don't know how to do that."
You know what? That's not where I thought your mind went. And it didn't even occur to me that, yeah, I'm a filmmaker. Of course, if I say, let's go shoot stuff, that I might mean I'm going to grab a camera and
That
go
was
film something.
Absolutely, my first
did
thought.
she
I
mean,
didn't
like,
even think of
like-
like going to a range or nothing. I was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I was inviting him to come play Destiny with me and my friend Emily.
Oh, miscommunications.
Glad.
Glad.
That's funny.
You really meant glad.
You did. That's why you
We
gotta
are
use
so
emojis.
off topic and also somewhat on topic.
Yeah, shoot stuff. That's on topic for this.
Well, I mean, earlier we were talking about Muppets, but we were kind of still off topic. But now we're completely off topic.
Let's talk about guns. All right, that's a good place to end. Guns.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, audience, for listening to all of that. I hope you took down the comment instructions and know what emojis to leave. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and IO for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing and suggesting this episode for us because you are our Muppet person, apparently.
Apparently, I didn't
Yeah.
know that until like
No.
today.
Colin, thank you for putting aside your fear of puppets to be here with us today.
Yep.
Gabby, thank you for being our accuracy checker because you're super into old stories. And that worked out for us today.
Yay.
Audience, if you want to talk to us about puppets, creepy ghosts, Christmas, glacking, you can find us on the medias. Twitter, y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr, Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk to me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Simba.
If you want to talk to me, Gabby, I'm on the Instagrams at Stegosauria.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
And you guys can hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled Dreemi. Let's talk about Muppets and Jim Henson and all things Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Thank you guys for listening.
It's been different. Bye.
Bye.